Welcome to Alt Press in Session. I'm Anna Zanes, the editor-in-chief of AP. This is the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of our monthly cover stories and inside the world of the artists shaping alternative music right now. This is where we go deeper. Today, we're talking about a cover fit for Floridians, Blink-182 fans, and anyone with an interest in 17th century violin. This is the nostalgia-packed summer issue featuring Travis Barker and Yellowcard. If you grew up on Ocean Avenue, you already know what Yellowcard meant to pop punk in the 2000s. And if you've followed Travis Barker's insane trajectory from Long Beach trash man to Blink to producing for artists like Machine Gun Kelly and Willow, you know he's never stopped pushing the genre forward. But what happens when Travis wears three hats? Producer, executive producer, and drummer, and the two worlds collide? We went to Travis's studio in Woodland Hills to find out. This day wasn't just about getting the shot, it was about capturing a moment. Back in 2017, Yellowcard disbanded. It wasn't a Kiss final tour situation. There was a period at the end of the sentence. But the period turned out to be an ellipses. Reuniting for an Ocean Avenue anniversary tour seemed to heal old wounds. Eventually, they came around to the idea of making new music. That's where Travis Barker stepped in, somewhat by happenstance. Cut to a year later, and we're all in Travis's drum room listening to Better Days, the album Yellowcard and Travis Barker made together. On set, I asked Travis what his favorite archive merch item was. He pointed to the vintage Jawbreaker tee he had on. It's worth noting that the shirt and the Op Ivy beanie he had on aren't just a flex. It's a nod to the musical lineage that's guided artists in the scene like Travis. And it's a reminder that pop punk never exists in a vacuum. What's wild is Yellowcard and Travis are at different phases in their careers, and yet there's a shared language of reinvention, of staying rooted in the scene and building what's next. In our feature, we got them talking about community, rediscovering confidence, and what it means to keep going when the genre that raised you continues to change. And so do you. So here it is, Travis Barker and Yellowcard in conversation. Let's listen. What drew you to work with Yellowcard?
My friend Nick was doing a day with them, and I had a day. So I was like, yeah, I'll jump in. Didn't really know what I was doing, but he's one of my best friends. So I was in for, like the idea of working together for the day. And then we had a really good time the first day we worked together, and my next day opened up randomly. So we got in again and we did another song the next day. And from there it was such like a easy project and easy group of guys to make music with. It was everyone in the band. It was really active and really a part of everything in the studio. Next thing you know, it was like we were getting back in the studio and we were scheduling weeks to work with each other and recording an entire album.
Hey guys, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Sean. We're from Yellowcard.
And we are here doing our first alternative press cover shoot in 2 decades.
Here we go. The format of this is fun. We have cue cards, so I'll be reading you a question.
Thank you.
Let's jump right to it.
Wait.
How did the collaboration with Travis Barker come about for this new album?
Coming in hot.
We're going big.
With the good stuff.
Let's go.
Right at the
right top. Right to it.
We owe that to our lead guitarist, Ryan Mendez.
Legend.
Ryan has maintained a friendship with our buddy Nick Long for many years. Nick played guitar in the same band as Ryan before he was in Yellowcard. Ryan, I'm sure at some point in this discussion today will tell you even more about this, but basically, I guess it's good to maybe get this out of the way too. When we went into the discussions about making a record, a full-length album, which we haven't done in a decade, almost a decade. This will be our first full-length in nearly 10 years. I kind of came to you guys and said, look, I'm very excited about the prospect of making new music. Obviously, we're all blown away by what's happening for our band right now. But I listen to ambient electronica and film scores. Like at my age, putting the hat back on of, really getting into rock and roll and pop punk and the music that we do best together, I really felt like for the first time in our career, I was open to the idea of writing, of getting some help, and writing with friends who have had great success as songwriters, but that are our people, our friends, people that work with bands we know and love. And Ryan jumped at that, a statement to say we should work with Nick Long. He's been a friend of mine for so long, and he's exactly the kind of person you want in the room with you to write rock and roll. And so, having never done any co-writes before, with the exception of a song back in 2012, we co-wrote a song with Patrick Stump from Fall Out Boy called "Here I Am Alive" on our record Southern Air. That's the only co-write we've ever done in our entire career. Which we've written a lot of songs. So
A lot of Yellowcard songs.
A lot of songs. So Nick came into the fold, and we had a plan to be out here doing something else and working on another project. And we had a couple of days where we were going to work with Nick and just pull out some acoustic guitars probably and jam and see what happened, you know? And between the time that we organized those dates with Nick and when we actually, when it actually came to those dates, Nick reached out to Ryan and said, hey, I love this part where it's like, I was talking to Travis, and Ryan's like, Travis Barker? And he's like, yes, because Nick wrote several songs on the new Blink, on One More Time, the newest Blink record. And so he said, I was talking to Travis and I mentioned I was going to be writing with you guys, and he suggested you coming to the studio where we are now sitting here in Woodland Hills, California. And so we ended up doing that, and it was, I don't know, man, you can weigh in. It was surreal. We just came in here, for the first writing sessions we've done in a long time, and it wasn't our normal, normally it's like a laptop and some monitors, and we just sit around with some wine and whiskey and jam, Oh, yeah. But this was like walking into the studio to do the damn thing.
Yeah.
And we wrote and recorded 2 songs with Nick and Travis. This is back in April of last year. So we've been working on this record for over a year, which is also very unlike any process we've done before. It's usually, 8 weeks in the studio and you're out and record's done. So we've really taken a lot of time to make sure we had the right songs, and, that everybody it felt like this record was going to have the weight, and scope that it needed to. If we're going to make a full length, it needs to matter. That was kind of the idea. So we've really taken our time with it. But anyways, we recorded 2 demos, and by the end of the process, the conversation kind of started where Travis was saying, this was a really incredible experience. Really loved working with you guys. How would you feel about making a full length album together? Because at that time, we didn't know if we were just going to do a couple songs with this team and a couple songs with that team and put a record together, or if we were going to have one producer, or if we were going to. Everything was kind of open and up in the air for how the process was going to go. So when Travis was like, I want to produce your whole record, we were floored and blown away by, just another wild, unexpected, massive opportunity for Yellowcard, for our band, that all these things just keep piling on, all these incredible things. And we just couldn't have found a better team to make this record, I think.
Absolutely. I think early on when we look at making Yellowcard songs, it's always, what do you guys have? What are we working with? And with this one we just wanted to feel like it came from our group of people, our group of musicians that understood what life on the road is like, what our life can be like. And Travis was just, he's unbelievable. He's the perfect fit. But I think having those little connections like Nick that led us to Travis and kept guiding the songs, I think that's how we ended up where we ended up.
He also played drums on the entire record.
Yeah.
And I don't even know. I don't need to talk about that. If you're watching this, you already know what that means. I am so excited for people to hear the energy that comes from these songs. I really feel like we did this magical thing that you try to do, but you also try to avoid. And I hope this makes sense. You try to capture like this original energy and this original sound, the core sound of the band from back in the day. But you also try to stay away from that because you don't want it to sound forced. You don't want to sound like you're in your 40s trying to sound like you're in your 20s. So it's a really strange place to be as a songwriter, trying to capture this nostalgia, but also trying to do things that are new and fresh. And I truly believe with this collection of songs, we captured the core sound of Yellowcard in the most pure way without it sounding forced in any way. It sounds so new and fresh, but it also brings you to a place of familiarity that you feel so happy and connected to Yellowcard. And at least I feel that way when I listen to it. And for me, that's huge because, as I mentioned earlier, getting back into these shoes was challenging for me. And so when I listen to the songs and I do feel this connection to this, younger version of myself in a way that isn't, that isn't forced. That's the best way to say it. It's such a cool feeling.
Well said.
You want one?
You want some?
How have longtime fans reacted to the news of this collaboration and upcoming album?
The internet?
The internets.
The Yellowcard fan base is very supportive.
They're fired up.
We are very lucky musicians. We're like, when you put information out that's like, hey, we're gonna try and do this, it can go two ways. And in this case, it's only gone one way. It's pretty insane. It's also, I would like to meet the person that's like, this sounds like a bad idea. Have Travis play drums for Yellowcard. That's terrible.
That's not really happening.
We haven't met that person.
No, not yet. I would say that one thing that's been fun for us and painstaking for the fans is that we've spent so much time working on this record. So like we've in essence been teasing that we're working on something for a full 12 months.
To be fair, we have been working on it a long
we have,
time.
but
we have carefully curated these songs for over 12 months.
It's hard to completely hide or mask the fact that none of us live in Los Angeles. So when we're all here together working, it's clearly, we can't not be active on social media and have people know that we're all in the same place. And, to the point of the question, like a longtime fan, a hardcore fan, they're going to recognize and realize, oh, they're all in the same place. What are they doing? So we've had this, this phrase, stay tuned, that's been happening on our socials for over a year. I mean, it really started like way back. The stay tuned hashtag started way back, but, now it's just, you see comments like, I'm staying tuned so hard, harder than I've ever stayed tuned.
The hardest tune ever.
I'm so tuned. So you see a lot of those posts, and it's become a fun thing with the fans. But I will say to fans, on behalf of all of us, we thank you for your patience, and I can't think of a better payoff for that patience than Better Days and the songs that you're about to hear.
Thank you. Favorite lyric you've ever written?
Oh, come on, man. Next question.
Next.
That's too hard.
Veto?
That's too hard.
Okay, I'm gonna do one.
Okay.
I think being the elephant in the room, or being the violin in the band, I think we have a song called Believe, and I remember Ryan and I we were living in the same apartment, and we were writing the early stages of that song, and he was like, hey, what about this? And we were kind of coming up with riffs and ideas, and I was like, what if I play it like this? And he was like, well, that's kind of 6 notes over this rhythm. And I was like, it kind of lines up. I really like playing it. Let's see what happens. And it's been like a staple violin iconic riff for me and for Yellowcard. So the song Believe off Ocean Avenue, that's my flag in the ground.
I can't pick one lyric.
You don't have to.
But I will say that just from a personal place, we made a record in 2014 called Lift to Sail that happened under much duress for not just me, for all of us. It was a tough time in all of our personal lives for a lot of different reasons. And so that record for me is probably the most emotionally vulnerable. I think I explored new themes and places lyrically more than in our genre. I think the music that works the best is when you're kind of storytelling, when you're really diving into specific experiences and trying to make them relatable to listeners. But on that record, I definitely went more in this sort of, internalizing just how I was feeling and how I was thinking, and much less matter-of-fact storytelling style of songwriting, which is what I've typically done throughout our career. And so that record's just always been really special for me as kind of a moment in time, and just a really different songwriting experience for me. So I'm really proud of the lyrics that came out of me on Lift to Sail. Your turn. Were there any unexpected challenges during the making of this album?
There were a number of unexpected challenges. So I think you have to get over the Yellowcard logistic hurdle first.
Like us all living in the States.
Where do we do this?
Yeah.
Okay, Travis is in. Okay, we're going to his house. Great. we're all here. And then we would come into an empty space and go, let's write a song. And the pressure of arriving to do the thing that you love to do, but you have to make it the best. Like, try not to think about that before you go to work. I think that is the biggest part.
I think that also brings me to a thought that is relevant and interesting about how we worked with our friends, songwriters. We've never done that before. But in a really unique and interesting way, it actually, I think, brought us all the way back to the way we originally wrote songs together as a band. Because as time went on and technology evolved, the fact that we did all live in different states, records had to be done in really short amount of time. We would demo songs in an instrumental way for the most part. We would write riffs and stuff and kind of knew that, I'm talking post Paper Walls, all the music we made in the 2010s probably, really. We would demo the songs instrumentally because we knew what we wanted the songs to sound like. We go, that's a sick riff, that's a good intro.
Right.
That's, we know we want like a clean guitar in the verse. We know we want a big halftime bridge. And then I'll take these demos, write a bunch of lyrics and melodies, bring them to you guys, take input, feedback, change what needs to be changed, and record the record. The way we used to do it when we, were young and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and heading to California in our van, we would write a song in the back of the van. We would write a song on the floor in the living room. We would write a song in the dressing room at a bar that we were playing. Do I call it a dressing room? A storage closet in a bar we were playing. And then we got away from that for a lot of reasons that made sense to get away from it. We weren't all together. We were very rarely all together after a certain point in our career. This brought us into the room with nothing to start with, just a fresh day, fresh minds, fresh idea that someone would start playing, or a melody, or a lyric idea. And so we wrote all of these songs from the ground up. And for me personally, there's 3 songs that two are on the record. One, we'll see where it goes, but that I was not expecting to do on it, because I started this whole conversation saying, one of the things that this record was for me was admitting that I maybe needed a little bit of help to get the gears turning again. But once they were, there's 3 songs, two songs on the record that I just wrote just from the ground up in one sitting. I never do that. I'm talking the guitar, I programmed some drums, I wrote the lyrics, it was all an idea. And that's how I used to write songs. And so this process was really inspirational for me, because I wasn't expecting to be able to do it on my own like that, and bring them in and have everyone be like, yes, these are great songs. These are worthy of being on the album,
Oh yeah.
And so I think returning to the kind of round table way of writing, sitting in a room together and just exploring ideas, but having it evolve into a song on the spot, not overthinking it.
I think that's the hard part too, is like the expectation of this space where we want to make the best Yellowcard song just out of nowhere. And I feel like
super intimidating.
Zooming out, looking at like, hey, no pressure. This is what we're trying to do every day.
Yeah.
That part is the hardest part. And then being at the kind of this part of the chapter where we're done, and now we get to see how people listen to these songs, what happens. But I think we can confidently say that this is like our strongest Yellowcard.
It's funny too, because the question was, were there unexpected challenges? And you can tell how stoked we are on this, because we immediately turned it back positive on, like, yes, it was a challenge, but it ended up being the best thing that could have happened, because we were just so inspired to write. Once, for me, the beginning of the process, I really was struggling. I was really struggling to find my footing and find confidence and feel like I belonged here amongst all of this, working with Travis, all that. I was feeling a lot of imposter syndrome at the beginning of it. And I've always struggled with that in my career, though, like at multiple different points in our career. I think when we've been more successful, I can tend to go to a place that I feel like I'm not good enough, and I feel like I'm not, and that can really eat me up. And that was happening at the beginning of this. And then some of the songs started to take shape, and I realized how special what we were doing was. And to my point earlier, how we really were capturing this sound that I just think people are going to be so excited about like how pure Yellowcard this is, you know? And it was inspiring. And I once I ripped that Band-Aid off and was just committed, that challenge ended up, the challenge of, to Sean's point, like walking into this kind of overwhelming experience of like, we don't have anything written, but it has to be amazing. Whatever we do today has to be amazing every day.
Yeah, I mean, like
That pressure ended up being really beneficial.
that can be daunting,
Yes.
like, right? And so like, I think coming full circle, getting to watch it, ready to release, you know, these songs, you know, again, like you said, super positive, but that was unexpected challenge for sure. How did Travis' involvement influence the songwriting and recording process compared to previous albums? How much time do we have?
Yeah. A lot of people have asked me about this process because it's a big thing. It's a big deal for us.
Big deal.
I think the thing to say about Travis is, you know him as the drummer for Blink-182 first. You know, his drumming is such a remarkable, unbelievable talent that is just world famous, you know?
Generational, melodic.
But you get to work with him in the studio as you know, when he puts on the producer hat, and we had no idea what to expect, how it was gonna go, how he was as a producer. We've worked with the same producer for 2 decades, so this is a huge change for us creatively as a band. And he doesn't even need to be the drummer of Blink-182. He could just be a producer, because the way he is able to kind of hang back, wait, let people flush ideas out, and then step in to say, here's what I think, whether it's melodically, a melodic idea, a lyric, you know, we're just beating ourselves over the head to find a lyric. And Travis just has this patience, you know, and he'll wait and ponder and step in to say, I think this is the lyric. And everyone in the room goes, of course that's the lyric. Why didn't you say something earlier? You know, just really, really amazing to work with. For me, it's, you know, especially personally for me, in a place that I've touched on a lot about how kind of just fish out of water I felt getting back into this. He was able to inspire a confidence in me that I feel like I was just terrified that I wasn't going to be able to find. I feel like this is without question, the best vocal performance I've ever delivered.
You're gonna have a big old party.
Oh, thanks, bro.
Sound great, honey.
I think these are the best vocals I've ever delivered, and I'm not giving myself the credit for that. I think his involvement in the process and his support and encouragement was everything you want from a producer. And I think the biggest thing is we didn't know what to expect, and it was so much more incredible working with him as a producer than we could have expected.
I think that's the secret ingredient. Like, we all know he's the best drummer of all time. We all have seen it. We all can air drum his parts because they're so memorable. And so to see that in a Yellowcard setting, but then, you know, he sits down, and what an amazing thing for us to bounce ideas. And he's like, hey, I think this is best. And you're like, it's efficient. You know right there, it's so powerful, because you're like, great, that's what he says. He knows best. That's what I feel. Let's go and get the best take of that possible. And I think it just inspired us all to try and be that next level version of ourselves.
I also think I wasn't really sure what to expect as far as involvement, you know, when we were going to be here every day. I mean, to get your head around how busy that dude is with all of the different things going on in his life, with his family and the band and the brands and the things that he has to manage, I wasn't really sure what to expect. And I'm telling you, he is so present. If he had to leave for something, a phone call or a meeting or whatever, always, guys, I'm gonna go take this call. I will be right back. And he's right back. And that was just really, really cool and inspiring in its own way. Because I would get, you know, an edit of a song or a tweak to the mix or something at all hours of the day and night. It was like, are you working on anything else other than the Yellowcard record? I know you are, but how do you have time to be so invested in this record? Yes, and so I think feeling that level of dedication and investment from him only amplified our own connection and our own investment in the songs and in this process.
Big involvement. Oh, here you go.
What's this? You guys are funny. This is funny.
This is a Yellowcard.
It's spelled proper too, with the space.
You're supposed to. Oh. That was good. Well done. Well done. Most important and cherished instrument that you own?
We can both do that.
I have one.
I have one.
You should go.
I have a Gibson J45 acoustic guitar that I bought in December of 2004. We had been touring on Ocean Avenue for 19 months straight. We had one little break in the summer of 04. We took like 2 weeks off. But otherwise, we had really...
That you only stayed in my bed 20 nights out of the whole year.
Yeah, we really were gone for almost 2 years straight. But in December, I moved to Manhattan, and when I first got there in December, it was dead of winter, the apartment was empty, didn't have any furniture. There was like an old chair in the middle of the room. And it was, it was like this kind of lofty room. And our buddy Pete Mosley, who was the bassist and songwriter in Yellowcard at the time, was going to live there with me, but he hadn't moved yet. And so I was just by myself in this apartment in the middle of winter in New York, kind of like, what am I doing? Why did I do this? What am I doing here? And I just went to Guitar Center and bought an acoustic guitar. And I just sat in the apartment, and it's cool to remember the time when I would just sit on the floor with an acoustic guitar and write songs. Now I have my studio and I produce more, and I'm kind of like more in the keyboards and piano playing world of writing. But
once a time.
But yeah, it's an image for me sitting on the floor in the winter in New York playing on this guitar that I bought, and it is still the guitar that I record everything acoustic wise, that I record everything, I write everything on it. It's just my go-to. And I'm not like a collector. I'm not a gearhead at all.
It's a pretty cool guitar.
And that one, I will never, it will never leave me.
Yeah.
How about you?
I have a very old violin.
It's so old.
Very
Tell them how old it is.
It was made in the late 1600s. When we moved to California, to pursue a career for Yellowcard. We were in the studio. I didn't know where to get strings. I looked online. There's this place, Studio City, called Bedding Violins. Shout out to Eric. They always take good care of me. But I've been going back there for 23 years. And when you're in the studio, all the guitar guys, all the drummers, they like, oh, we're going to rent this snare. We're going to rent this guitar. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I want to do...
Well, I get to rent.
I want to do cool shit. So I went to Eric and Bedding Violins, and I was like, hey, I'm probably looking to buy a violin, but I know they're expensive. Would you be willing to rent me one, or I could try it out? We're in the studio making a record called Lights and Sounds. Would that be all right with my little band Yellowcard? I play violin. And they're like, yeah, totally. We could demo some. And I had fallen in love with this other violin. It was a French violin. And it got sold before I was able to make it back. So, which happened to be okay because I found this old Italian violin, late 1600s. It's very Baroque style, very dark, but under the microphone, it has a very unique character. And
it's rock and roll. It's a rock and roll violin from the 1600s.
It's so nice.
How many bands can say they have a rock and roll violin?
So I ended up buying it. I ended up buying it after that record process, and it sounds great. And other than Ocean Avenue, we've used it on every Yellowcard recording. Very cherished. Why is Yellowcard back?
That's a great question, Sean.
What did you do?
Richard, what did you do?
What happened?
Yellowcard has returned because there was a level of support from fans all over the world, from the people that we are so lucky to work with every day, that keep the band afloat, our booking agent, our manager. There was this sense of patience, I think, because when we stepped away from this in 2017, our last show was March 25th, 2017 at House of Blues in Anaheim. And there was a very real sense, not even a sense, there was a period at the end of the sentence. The door was closed. It was the end. I truly believe we all felt there was no chance that we would ever make music together again. We had put so much thought into how we were stepping away from the band on our own terms for so many reasons that we don't need to get into here, but all we can say
to have
is
a good ending.
yes, and the reasons were valid and the reasons were our own, and we made the decision together. And I think we did something really beautiful in the end by creating that final tour. And it was the most successful tour we had done in years, a decade.
Long time.
So it felt like, on top of all the reasons why we felt we needed to step away, it being so successful also really felt like, okay, great. We ended this on our own terms. It went better than we could have ever imagined. It really feels right to step away and be done with this chapter of our lives. But there was waiting in the wings people who I think believed someday this is going to come around, these wounds are going to heal, and Yellowcard will be back. And while we didn't know that was going to happen, it's like it was always destined to happen somehow, you know? And we got a phone call in late 2021, I think it was. So we had been, 5 years away, 4 years away at that point, about potentially playing Riot Fest in Chicago. All of us didn't start talking about that until mid 2022, and the show was going to be in September of 2022. And even that was, let's just see how it goes. There was no future plans, certainly not making an album with Travis Barker, and all the wild things that have happened since that night in Chicago.
How do you dream that up?
But it was people who believed in us saying, because there was fear of like, yeah, but we said we were done, Is this a gimmick now? Does it feel forced? Like we faked it when we stepped away, and we had the people behind us. We still have the same people behind us that believe in us, believe in this band, that said, just trust us, just play the show. It's going to be one of the most special nights of your life, of your career. And they were not wrong. Our booking agent, her name is Corey Christopher Martin, and she has been our agent since 2001, which is wild in the music business to work with someone that's not in your band for your entire career, basically.
Number one.
And so this was her doing, and she just kept saying, guys, you just got to trust me. We got to do this show. And we did it, and it was one of the most special, magical, emotional performances of our career, and it opened the floodgates for everything that has happened after. We're playing the biggest shows we've ever played. I think we just made the most important record we've ever made. Well, I think we've just made the most important record post Ocean Avenue, because obviously Ocean Avenue is why we get to sit here and have these conversations still. But
that's very fair of you.
But it's the most special album, most important album we've made to follow that one up, and it's taken us 20 years to make it, but we made it, I think, finally. We've tried many different iterations of how to recreate that in the right way, and this one does it, I think. But had we not played Riot Fest that night, we wouldn't be here. And I don't know if that answers why we're back. I don't know if I have a why. I just know that we're supposed to be here. It's to quote the Goonies, it's our time down here.
It's our time, that's right.
What made this cover unforgettable wasn't just the music, though Yellowcard's new album hits with full body force. And Travis, he's basically genreless at this point. It was the energy between them, the nods to the past, the excitement about what's next, and the shared refusal to stay static. Thanks for joining us in session. If you liked this episode, share it, leave a review, or send it to a friend. We'll be back soon with more stories from the front lines of music, culture, and everything in between.